You're listening to the LSG Sports Network, the authority on Texas high school football. Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Daly, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. This is Season 7, Episode 4. My guest today makes no secret that everything in Texas high school football is begged, borrowed, or stolen from another great coach. I will introduce you to Aaron Nowell right after this. Hey coaches, I want to tell you about a product I discovered that is going to be a game changer. Yeah, the Exploder Bar. As coaches, you want to get your athletes as strong as possible without jeopardizing their speed and quickness. The Exploder does just that. I know it sounds like marketing hype, but if you're like me, the second you see this lifting tool in action, you will recognize just how brilliant it is. Triple extension lifts are the key to more powerful movements, and the Exploder Bar was designed to allow these exercises to be performed in a safe and effective manner. And it's a great way to condition core muscle groups and ligaments. Check it out at PremierAthleticSolutions.com. The Exploder Bar is built for athletes who are looking for speed, strength, and explosion. Again, that's PremierAthleticSolutions.com. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Aaron Nowell to the show. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Wonderful, yeah. First, I want to go back to where you grew up and maybe when you discovered this game of football.
Right. So I'm actually born and raised in Grand Prairie, Texas.
Nice.
And attended South Grand Prairie High School. My first time playing the game was in middle school, 7th grade at Truman Middle School, and probably one of the first early impacts of a coach on my life happened there. A coach by the name of Ronald Lowe was our coach in middle school, and kept in touch with him throughout high school, and we're still actually in touch to this day. And we got the honor to coach against him once back in 2017 in the playoffs, and that was kind of a unbelievable, unreal experience. That you get to play for a guy and you look up to him your whole life, and then you get to go share the great game as opponents, and at the end of it, walk over, shake hands, hug his neck, kind of deal, and just tell him what an impact that he had on me as a young man.
Nice. And so who won the game?
I was with Midway in 2017, so we were pretty loaded that year. We won.
Nice. So, and you played there, and talk about your high school playing career.
Man, I'll be honest with you, I was a pretty average high school player. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything great. Greatest thing about my high school career is we had a really good junior tailback my senior year that went on to play at Stanford, and so we did a lot of watching him do really cool things.
Nice. And I assume you went off to college, and somewhere along the line you decided, hey, I want to be a coach.
Yes. tried a couple of different things. And my whole family's been in education, and as a teacher or in support staff or in the maintenance department or something. So I kind of come from a family that has done education. And I was like, man, that's not me. That's not me. And then I was like, wait, not happy professionally. Like, what's the greatest job in the world? And I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to coach football every day. And so kind of reset course and went and made that happen. And started in 2004 as a volunteer coach at Pantego Christian Academy, which Pantego's a little speed trap in the middle of Arlington. It's got a private school, a Brahms, and probably the best barbecue in Dallas-Fort Worth that nobody knows about, in a place called David's Barbecue. And that staff was comprised of about 5 or 6 coaches that are retired from public school, were rehire at the private school, and still coach ball. And so, like, I just kind of hit the jackpot in that I very early on had this room full of knowledge. And, there was a coach by the name of David Wood, and he was our O-line coach. And, David was one of those guys that could coach all 22 and tell you he could coach all 22. Great guy, fun to be around. But he kind of took me to the side early, and he's like, hey, don't take this the wrong way, but if you'll shut up and just listen to what we're doing for like 2 years, like you'll really learn you'll learn some stuff. And I just kind of said, hey, great. Like, I'm trying to get my foot in the door here. So, I was painting field and setting it up and doing stat. Like, I would, anything they asked me to do, yeah, I'll do it. And, I was kind of like a GA for them in a way. And I was there for 5 years. And then I got my first real job was at Arlington Sam Houston, coaching D-line there. Worked for a guy named Danny Edelman, who had some success up at Wichita Falls, Hershey, amongst a couple other stops. And he retired that March. And this is where my career kind of gets crazy, because for no rhyme or reason, like, I get on with Coach McGuire over at Cedar Hill in 2011, and first year there we lose to South Lake in round 2. 2012 we lose to Katy in the state game, and then in 13 we win it. And just unreal fortunate to be there and learn from him and develop a relationship with Joey that exists to this day. And my oldest child was about to be a freshman. She was at a little fine arts charter school in Fort Worth, and she was like, Dad, like, I go to your games and I cheer for your kids, but I want to like actually cheer for my friends. And we lived in Arlington at the time, and we lived in Arlington Martin's district, and Coach Wager had a spot open and brought me in over there. And so I got to start her high school career off with 2 years at Arlington Martin. And from there, I took my first coordinator job at Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So I went north of the Red River, worked for a fantastic guy up there by the name of David Alexander. He graduated from Broken Arrow and played in the league and was a really great guy to work for. It wasn't a fit for us family wise, with all our family being back in Texas, and knew we had to get back. And so that I landed with Coach Hume at Midway in 2017, and just kind of caught lightning in a bottle that, get somewhere and they're pretty good and we go play for it and go 15-1, end up losing to Cy Fair in the state game. As things would have it, he leaves June of 20. Hold on, I may be getting my years wrong here. Let's see, this is 23. Yeah. Yes. So he leaves. I was a DC at that point at Midway, and I wasn't going to go. I didn't really want to move back to the Metroplex, and so knew the guy that got in the job out here at Mejia, and I called him and said, "Hey, did you ever hire DC?" And he's like, "No, who's looking?" I said, "I am." He's like, "Well, come on." And as fate would have it, I ended up taking over the interim job here the Sunday before week 1 of that season, and got the job full time that February, and we're rocking and rolling out here in Mejia, Texas.
I love it. You know, you're reading off a who's who of coaches that you've been under. Talk about
ridiculous.
those influences. Yeah.
You know, you everything in this game is kind of begged, borrowed, or stolen. You know, as far as what we do
right.
schematically, right? And I've kind of taken little bits and pieces of those coaches, and I think it's kind of molded me into the coach that I am right now. It's, you know, people ask me, "Hey, Coach, where have you been?" And it's like an embarrassment of riches, you know, it wasn't because, you know, of anything other than just happened to be right place, right time, and, you know, do right by kids at the stops I've been. So it's opened doors for me. You know, Joey was unbelievable in just the energy and the passion for young people that he brought. Coach Wager, there's a certain amount of toughness that comes with coaching on his staff, and the attention to detail. You know, not that other coaches don't pay attention to the little things, but you know, it was a little bit different level at my time with Coach Wager, and honestly, it probably took a little bit before that really kind of sunk in of how appreciative to be of that. You know, Coach Hume was very much hey, as a position coach, you are the head coach of your position.
Right.
Go run it. Go run it. This is what we believe in. This is what we do. This is how we're going to do it. But you go coach your kids. I hired you to coach kids. Go coach them. And, you know, I had no connection to Coach Hume before I got there to Midway. The only way I really knew of him was when he was the head guy at Mansfield, and we were in the same district at Cedar Hill. I'd been across the field from him and knew the face and knew the name, but, you know, I couldn't have told you anything about him prior to that. And, you know, not only did I get to work for a really good guy, but also developed a friendship, and we still talk every couple of weeks or so, or kind of however our schedules will fit, about, you know, this, that, or the other, or maybe we'll talk ball and scheme, or we may just catch up and, hey, how's the wife and kids doing, you know? So just to be able to have those relationships, and you know, guys to kind of fall back on and call, "Hey, how'd you handle this? Hey, Coach, this is my first time running across this. This is kind of what I'm thinking. You know, hey, how did you handle it?" Or when I first got the job, I called every one of them and I said, "All right, tell me one thing you wish you'd known 5 years into being a head coach that you didn't know day one." And every one of them laughed and said, "Oh Lord, I can only pick one." I said, "Yeah, only pick one." And you know, everybody gave me another little nugget right there, and so I just kind of tucked it in my hat and ran with it.
Nice. And so, if you had to pick one, what's your one?
Oh, what, the nugget?
Yeah, one that you would tell somebody.
Coach coaches. Coach your coaches hard.
Nice.
The kids are going to be fine. You know, your coaches are what's driving the message, and whether it's schematics or program stuff or whatever it is. You know, coach your coaches hard, but you know, love them up. They're your guys. They're the reason you got in the seat. So take care of them.
I love that. And speaking of coaches, as you became a head coach, your world changed. So now you are coaching coaches and hiring young coaches. Talk about how that differed from you chasing after the ring.
Holy cow. I'll be honest, the first day of, you know, hey, this is my first practice as a head coach, right? You know, we got pre-practice, and boom, hey, we go off to Indy, and I'm kind of standing in the field, and I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but what do I do now? Like, I'm used to having a group of kids or, overseeing somebody or helping somebody. And so I just kind of started going around and just watching coaches coach and, just making notes of, hey, okay, I'll meet with this guy. We talk about this, or, hey, here's a little bit cleaner way of saying that, and it's just a little less verbiage or what have you. But just keep driving the bus, right? Don't I'm the bus driver. Don't run us off the road. And hiring young coaches is different now. Like when I first got in it, like I would have probably never asked like when I interviewed with Danny Edelman for the first time, never did it cross my mind to go, hey, well, I don't know what you got going on at coordinator spot, but I think I can call it. I'm like, no, I know that I know for a fact I was not ready to call it at that point. I knew what I knew, and just, still to this day, like you're constantly learning and evolving, and if you're not, then something's probably wrong. But and some of it's just the technology of huddle. They've never had the pain of breaking down the film, and all of a sudden you get the black screen with a white cursor going, well, looks like we're starting that game over. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they've never striped a field. It's just, and some of that's good. Like, I'm glad we don't have to go stripe the field every day. Like, I really am. But if we did, like, you better be willing to go do it, and do it with the, just a sense of pride about it, because it's your work. I think that's probably the youngest thing is young coaches want it all so fast, but you see young guys like Lincoln Riley at that level, or you see a Sean McVay at the NFL level, and everybody's like, oh, well, I can do that. Well, are you willing to do what they did to get there? Like Sean McVay's hanging out, when he's in college with Tampa Bay, doing anything and everything John Gruden could possibly conjure up to ask him to go do. And he's like, yep. Right. Never says no. And, the hard work pays off. And some people are willing to put in all that work, and some people look at it and go, man, that's cool and all, but that's insane. Like, I'm not doing that. And like, I've got friends that are like, I don't know how you do what you do. And I'm like, I don't work a day in my life. I get to go mold young men and young women into the future of our society. And that's not work. That's just I get to go do something I'm passionate about. And, if your heart's not burning on fire for kids, then this is the wrong thing for you to be doing, because it does, it takes what it takes. Like the days are long on some days are not. It is what it is. And, we'll work until it's done, and, go home, hug the wife, kiss the kids, and, get a little sleep, come back, do it again tomorrow.
Right on. And, So as you bring on these young coaches, have you had that conversation to just shut up and listen? Hey, I want to talk about one of our sponsors, Ready Sports Drink. Football star Aaron Donald always brings something extra to his all-pro performances. Ready Sports Drink. It's science in a bottle. Ready Sports Drink features premium hydration with 3 dominant electrolytes, not just 1 or 2. Ready Sports Drink. Complete hydration with extra energy from super fruits and B vitamins. All this with 0 added sugar and great tasting flavors. Ready Sports Drink, the future of sports drinks. And Aaron Donald's hydration edge every time he sets foot on the field. Ready Sports Drink, now on sale at your local Dollar Tree. So as you bring on these young coaches, have you had that conversation to just shut up and listen conversation?
To an extent, I probably wasn't as blunt as David was with me. I was a little bit older at that time, so I think it's just 2 men talking. Like, I didn't take it as any type of threat. Like, I knew where he was coming from with that, and I've told some young coaches, like, hey, don't be don't be so fast to be the first guy being heard. I'm not saying you're not right, or I'm not saying your idea is not good or valid or what have you, but like sometimes get the whole process before you want to try to go, hey, well, I think we can cut out step blah, 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 or hey, we could do this, or, theoretically we could do anything, but what fits our kids? And, it's like when you're game planning, well, what if they do this? Well, we're not playing the what ifs, we're playing whoever the next opponent is. And, I guess they could probably come out in the wishbone on the first play, and if they had, we're probably not going to be ready for it. They're probably going to wedge block and try to, fake a belly dive, and who knows what's going to happen after that. But, okay, if they do it, we'll react to it. But, we're not going to go out there and, hey, every Monday we're going to have a 5-minute wishbone period because somebody might do it, So to me, a lot of the young coaches are getting into it now. The game knowledge is there.
Yeah.
It's how do you manage your position? How do you manage your kids? How do you mentor your kids? How is what you're doing in the position group preaching, the right in line with what our standards of our program? And I think that's the most important part, I haven't run across somebody that's trying to get into this line that, has zero clue about the game of football. But most of them have some kind of background. Now, they don't always know what they think they know, but that's all right. Teach them.
Yeah, I love it. And talk about the kids. You've mentioned them over and over and over in this conversation, and they're at the core of everything. Talk about those relationships.
Golly. There's so many things that sound like coach cliche, hey, this is what it's all about. Well, no, it's all about kids. And everything that you do, every decision you make has to be about the kids in your program. Is this right by our kids? Is this right for our kids? Is this good for our kids? Now, some of that stuff that's right and good for your kids is also going to be hard for your kids, and that's okay. That's one thing we talk about. Hey, do hard things. You don't always do hard things because you have to. You do them because you can, so that when you have to do them, you can do it. And that's a message we preach to our kid all the time. It's okay to do hard things. Take pride in doing things that are tough, things that are uncommon. If it was easy, we wouldn't have enough lockers or enough jerseys or enough shoulder pads, right? Because we'd have every kid in Mahia would be out here trying to play football. And I would welcome them with open arms, and I'd try to figure out a way to make it all happen. But we want kids that truly love Mahia Black Cat football, and I think when you make it a little bit hard to be a part of it, that it makes it special. And we're a 3A school. It's a small, tight community. This place is absolutely special. I'll tell anybody that'll listen about Mahia, Texas, it's special from the kids to the school building to the administration. But it's really the community that makes it up is what makes it special. It's, you have the opportunity to know your players, parents, grandparents, aunt, uncle, they're here and they're at everything. This community loves to watch our kids compete. So, we don't ever worry about empty stands and hey, no one's coming to watch our kids. No, they're supported and they know it. And, I think that adds a little bit of sense of pride when they put on a jersey that says Mahia or Black Cats or Lady Cats across the front of it.
Right. And, you're kind of in a good situation when it comes to multiple sports. I played at a 2A, so everybody not only played both sides of the ball, we played every sport. At the bigger schools, you've got people who try to, pick a sport, right, and that's it. Talk about the importance of that multiple sports.
I think with the multiple sports, an athlete learns how to win in different ways. And the more that they're able to do, you're going to have a better, more well-rounded athlete, if you will. I think sometimes at some of the bigger classifications, kids feel a pressure, whether it's real or not, from coaches to, oh, I've got to specialize in this. Like if I'm going to be seen, or I'm going to, whatever the case is, I've got to just specialize in this, or I just have to play that sport, or hey, I might be able to play these two because there's zero overlap in them, and no one's going to get their feelings hurt that I'm, hey, maybe cutting this workout a little short to go make sure I get that one. Here at our level, like all our kids do everything. We've got a young lady that's a junior she's a 4-sport letterman. We have, I could just a laundry list of kids that are 3-sport lettermans. And like that's exactly how we want it. Like it's never going to be a problem to share kids in Mahia, Texas, because we want our kids to participate in everything. And that's how we're able to have JVs, and you're able to have depth is you share. And, the only time it becomes a problem is when adults don't communicate and don't do what adults are supposed to do. We're never going to have a kid be responsible for go telling a coach that, hey, I've got a track meet on this day and a baseball game on this day. So, hey, coach, I'm not going to be at baseball practice. Well, no, we're going to have our track coach going to let our baseball coach know that, hey, the track meet's on Thursday and so-and-so is going to run in this event and that event, and boom, hey, he'll be ready to go for you on Friday. And like, that's just how it is. And 99% of the problems that in the world of education are caused and driven by adults, and we're going to ixnay that stuff because we're going to communicate effectively and professionally with one another, and always have the best interests of kids in mind. And we're in a kid business, so be about kids.
I love it. And you've mentioned Mahia and the community several times. Talk about the importance of a community getting behind you, not only in football but in all the sports.
Shoot. So this was my first go round at the Battle of the River, right? We played Gross. I don't even say it. Those guys across the river. I won't even say their name. Stir the pot a little bit. If that bothers them, so be it. The stadium that night was absolutely electric. I mean, everywhere you looked, it was just, it was literally standing room only. Matter of fact, like our district finance director never calls me. Like, she has no reason to ever call me. It was that Tuesday of that game week, my phone goes off and she's calling me, and I'm like, something terrible has happened. Like, why is she calling me? Like, I'm either getting pocket dialed or something terrible's happened. I answer, I said, yes, ma'am. She's like, hey, I just want you to know the game Friday night's a sellout. I said, nice. It's like Tuesday at 3:00. Like, what? She's like, yeah, we're sold out. And, I had people coming by the coach's office and calling me going, hey, I need a ticket. And I'm like, it's a sellout. And they're like, yeah, but I need a ticket. And I'm like, no, that's what sellout means. Like, there's no more tickets, like that's kind of the whole definition of a sellout. And like that kind of carried right on into basketball. Both of our boys and girls had very successful seasons and go 3 rounds deep. And, our gym over here is known as the Dungeon, and it's packed and it's hot and it's loud, and as an opposing team what you're walking into when you come in there. Like, the Mahia side is going to be rocking and rolling, and it's a hard place to play, and we like it like that. Like, it's a home field, it's a home court advantage for our kids, and it should be. And honestly, I wish every gymnasium across the country was like that, and every stadium on Friday night was like that. Like, every young person deserves the opportunity to play in that environment. And, not naive enough to go, hey, not every kid gets that opportunity, but for you can even throw out the 80-20 rule. 80% of them are all doing the right stuff at the right times for coaches, and they deserve that to walk out and see a packed stadium there to watch them. You know, to walk into a gym and man, there's people standing up top because there ain't nowhere to sit to watch them. Like that's special.
When all things are equal between coaches and players and situations, what is the big difference in a winning program and a losing program? Well, I tell you, I think a big factor is the information you have available as a coach. And our sponsor, Optimum Grading, can do so much to help you have that information. They provide a comprehensive, fully customizable web application designed from a coach's perspective to analyze the players based on what the coach is teaching. By default, players are evaluated from their alignment, assignment, technique, effort, and production result. And through reports, a coach can understand where the player is exceeding and where he is struggling. But as I talked with the founder, what I discovered was what makes this system different than any other tracking system is that it is so customizable. You can decide what's important to you, and you only have to track those factors that you find important. This powerful platform integrates play data with the coach's input on every single play and ultimately allows the coach to run detailed reports to uncover how the players are performing overall and in situational football. It's really good stuff. Check it out, OptimumGrading.com. I tell you, this is a tool that will separate winners from losers. And what about, you see people who are down on the game, saying too many concussions, too many injuries, heat stroke, yada, yada. What are the biggest threats you see to our game?
Oh man, the concussion thing was really big, and THSCA did a great job in partnering with Atavus Tackling to just I don't think there were guys that were teaching kids to go be billy goats and ran their top of their heads into things, but with the tackling certification and what that does is it gives us something to defend what we do and say, hey, look, like we're training coaches on the proper way. People that yes, it is a physical sport and it has violent collisions. But there's other sports that have the same collisions with no padding. This will probably get me blackballed in some coaching circles, but like I grew up playing soccer, and so I kind of like the game a little bit, But I've actually coached it as my second sport, and you can get a concussion out there pretty dang quick too, And not to say that in defense that football's not violent or things don't happen. No, they obviously they do. I think the other push of, I think there for a while there's probably a stereotype of, well, if I'm a basketball or a baseball guy that, my football coach doesn't want me to go play that. Well, no, I want you to go play everything because, like I said earlier, you learn how to win in different ways. If I've got a secondary guy that plays outfield, well, like that guy's probably pretty mentally tough because the game of baseball is absolutely brutal to your self-confidence, Like you got to be a 30% hitter to be really, really good. And, you can square one up and line drive it right to the third baseman. It might be the hardest ball you hit all year, but, you're turning around and sitting on the bench and cheering on your teammates right after. So there's just different benefits to you can find a benefit to every sport for your kids if you look at it the right way. I feel like we could go down a rabbit hole into the whole voucher stuff they're talking about now. Like that's come on, like I'm a public school teacher, and so obviously I'm pretty staunch in where I sit on that. And, now they're talking about, hey, well, maybe we'll allow one-time transfers. Like, please, come on. Keep that stuff out of it. The NIL stuff. I know, like the state of Louisiana, like they've passed it where high school kids can get NIL deals, and there's some coaches down in the Beaumont area that are having to contend with that, of losing kids going across the state line to go play over there because I don't know what kind of NIL deal you get as a high school kid. Do you go work the Sonic drive-through for 2 hours and they give you $250? Like I don't know, but right. Like there's plenty of time to go be an adult. Like you have the rest of your life to do it. Like let them be kids. Like the only reason they get to do what they do is they hit the birth lottery, and we're born in the greatest republic in the nation in Texas, and we do it right. That's why Texas high school football is what it is. There's men that have set this thing up for coaches that are in my position right now that did it the right way, going as far back as when this thing started. And I think as coaches, it's our job to make sure we do it right and leave it set up for the younger coaches.
Right on. Yeah, and finally talk about those coaches and talk about the importance of the Coaches Association and the brotherhood that you have as coaches.
Shoot. It really is probably something that took me a couple of years to really understand what the association does for our game, for really not just football, but for high school sports. Yeah. I think for a long time it had kind of there was a thought process that, hey, that's just for football coaches. Well, no, if you go to coaching school, we're about 26,000 strong right now. And I want to say at coaching school last year, there was something like over 50 or over 60 different clinics for girls athletics. So it's not just a football clinic. It's not just a football group. It is Texas high school coaches. There's stuff in the legislature that they look at, like the vouchers and stuff like that. And, I think anytime you get a bunch of coaches in a room and everybody starts looking at everybody's logo and, hey, I may not really like that dude across the way or whatever, because we're going to play them week 7 or whatever it is. But, it's not really in some cases it's a person, but I think for the most part, it's really just the logo on that dude's shirt, Yeah. It's important that we handle our business, and then our kids handle theirs. And, the association, the importance of it, like you really have to kind of delve into it and look at what they're doing and really, really follow. They're doing some great stuff with the Rock Mentor Mentee program. I've gone to the Leadership Summit the last 2 years and listened to some phenomenal speakers there. The Power of Influence meetings that they do. There's ways for young coaches to get involved, and it's something that we push here. We're fortunate here in Mejia that our district pays all coaches memberships to THSCA, and as the athletic director, I'm very grateful for that. As a somewhat seasoned coach, I'm even more grateful that these young kids, I say kids, these are young adults. I apologize. Young adults that are in the profession are joining the association and kind of slowly and surely understanding what it is and the importance of it.
Right on. Well, Coach Aaron Nowell, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me and telling some of your story.
Hey, you bet. I enjoyed it. I'm always willing to talk about the Black Cats, I promise.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas high school football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Until next time, I'm Chris Daly, and we'll see you at the game. Hey, if you're involved in your team's fundraising, get this. I was recently introduced to Success Fund, and I was blown away by what it can do. If you're not already using Success Fund to manage your fundraising, you'll really want to check this out. SuccessFund.com. That's Success, F-U-N-D.com. It's not a specific fundraiser, no. Now, Success Fund is a platform with free tools that makes it easy to run whatever fundraiser you're already planning. Sponsorships, donations, camps, clinics, whatever it is. Success Fund makes it 10 times easier. Plus, schools use it to accept Venmo, which is otherwise not an option. Because so many thousands of fundraisers have been through their system, these guys know what works and what doesn't. And they just put out a free high school football fundraising guide. Yeah, you can go and download the guide for free at successfund.com/football. It takes 2 seconds to grab it. Again, you want to be sure to check these guys out. But at the very least, go grab this free football fundraising guide at successfund.com/football.